your counterparts in the Republican primary to join?
I never have a problem with that. I mean, if they want to come, but they better bring ideas. They better bring their ideas, and they better bring real specifics.
I would love to see others step up, although we would then have to expand the time, because what we're not going to have 30-second or minute sound bites where individuals can say, well, how do you reform state government? Well, first, let me say this. I was the child of a, hard-working farmer. And in the last 15 seconds, I will cut state government. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So, would love to have the others. In fact, I did ask Bob Vanderplas to debate. And instead of accepting the challenge to debate, he asked me to meet with him in Brooklyn, Iowa. And we met for 2 hours, and I flat out asked him, Bob, do you have a plan to fix government? And he said no. And so we've met. In fact, Bob and I met for 2 hours before I met with Speaker Rance. And had I felt Bob was ready to discuss issues, I would have invited him to participate in this format. It's nothing personal. Former Governor Branstad, I have asked if we could get him on the record talking about his issues and platforms. And his campaign is, I think, reluctant. And it might be smart politics. But I have to commend Speaker Rance because he has waded into the waters, and I think Iowans will be better for it.
Part of the problem, and the reason why I welcome them, I don't know that they want to do it, but part of the problem is when you find the 5 or 6 Republican candidates together, typically we have 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and we spend more time talking about, what our backgrounds are or what our personal history is, so those folks get a chance to get to know us a little bit as people, but we don't get to spend enough time really talking about issues. Last night, however, was a little different. Last night up in Charles City, it was just Representative Roberts and I, and we each were allotted 20 minutes to talk about a topic. We talked about property taxes last night for 20 minutes. And that's not really enough time to really thoroughly discuss property taxes in this state. But that's why I'm concerned that we are embarking on an issue-less gubernatorial campaign that's only about name identification or only about personalities, and it's not enough about what our specific proposals are to move Iowa forward. And I'd be happy to debate any Republican candidate anytime, anywhere. Let's bring it on. I mean, let's go. But this was the opportunity that was afforded me, and so I'm going to take advantage of it. And if others want to follow suit, if AdamRepublican.com wants to set up a series of debates around the state and set up the format, Craig, I'll be there.
All right.
That's a quick follow-up question. Public safety and public education was certainly front-burner items. However, state government employees have been asked to take across-the-board 10% cut vis-a-vis layoff. At this juncture, with unemployment in the country being higher than it's ever been before, 10%, and here in Iowa it's high at 6%, what is your position on economic development for folks in Iowa with the greatest needs?
First of all, I tend to believe that if we want to do something about growing jobs in the state, we have to talk about issues like property taxes. Iowa's got the 3rd highest commercial property taxes in the country. We're in the top 10 in industrial property taxes. You're not going to be able to grow small businesses, and that's why we rank 49th in the nation in new business starts, if you have the highest property tax burden. And here's why. Because before you ever realize a profit, before you ever turn on your manufacturing line or bring that first employee in the door, you're having to pay property taxes. And right now that makes us very uncompetitive. Property taxes have to be part of that equation. Second, we're going to have to do some risky things in Iowa. I think we need to follow suit with what the state of Michigan has looked at doing. If we want to really create new business starts, most new businesses aren't profitable in the first few years, and it's risky. A lot of them fail. Go tax go tax-free on new businesses to get started. Third, we have to start in our universities educating our kids a little differently. Iowa does a great job of teaching people to be good employees, but we don't teach them to be good entrepreneurs. Let's face it, a lot of the great ideas that come out of the laboratories at the University of Iowa and up in Ames end up being sold and marketed out of state, rather than our Iowa State students that create these ideas actually turning them into businesses in Iowa. Fourth, we've got to advance right to work in this state. We have to end the debate that's currently going on at the State House and put right to work back on our marketing materials and go out and aggressively market across the state. Now, those are 4 ideas that come to me off the top of my head, but that's not the end of the discussion. Okay? I don't want you to walk away thinking, oh, I've got 4 things, but I'm trying to tell you there's no silver bullet. There's no one answer. There are a lot of people that think we ought to be, getting rid of the tax credits that are out there right now. They may be right on some of the tax credits, but we have to be careful that we don't, that it's in the name of making change, that we don't throw out what actually works. Iowa's research and development tax credit brings a lot of high-paying, jobs that require a high degree of education in the state. We need to be pursuing those kinds of things. There is no one silver bullet to answer any of that.
If there's no silver bullet, how does it make sense to give Bill Gates a tax break or Hollywood a tax break and not give a small business entrepreneur a break?
It doesn't make any sense. And that's the problem with the Culver administration's current economic development policy. When they give Google and Bill Gates a tax break to bring a data center in, yet you have local folks trying to create data centers in both Sioux City and Waterloo and aren't able to take advantage of the same tax incentive that was given to Bill Gates. That makes absolutely no sense at all.
Thank you.
What about the tax incentives for blue money?
That helped keep most blue money in Iowa. Unfortunately, they haven't lived up to their end of the bargain, and because they changed their business structure, they're going to have to pay a lot of that money back.